On? I'm on, all right. Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started on this August 19th meeting. Welcome anybody we have online. Welcome them. So I've asked Supervisor David to lead us in the prayer, or the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Here we are, already the 19th of August, moving through this year a lot faster than I can keep up with it. So I just welcome everybody here. We go ahead and have a motion to approve the minutes, special meeting held on August 1st, and the regular meeting, work sessions held on August 5th, and the special meeting held on August 7th. Do we need to do that separate? Could I get a motion approved then, please?
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed those minutes, and they're accurate and reflect what transpired. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the minutes for those the minute report for those 3 minutes, those 3 meetings. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous. Next, we have up the approval of bans and handwritten warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the vigilance of our of people who review that in our office to make sure that that we're not being overbilled and that we're paying our obligations on time. And I'm pleased to go ahead and move that we approve the demands and handwritten warrants.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous. First, we have up Cindy Orr, our treasurer, doing the fine work she always does for us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to present offers for 3 over-the-counter tax deeds on parcels. These offers include all the taxes and fees that are required for the minimum bid.
Any discussion for Cindy on these matters?
I was just adding them up, Mr. Chairman, and I didn't see the $4th item, but it looked like well over $6,000 will be collected and added to the treasury as a result of your diligence and reaching out and getting these unpaid taxes paid. Do you have in front of you, or just offhand, do you have a total for those 4 parcels?
I don't, but okay. I can get it to you.
That's fine. Yeah, it was well over $6,000, so that's great.
All right, great work. I'll make a motion that we approve the over-the-counter offers for the tax deed sales.
I'll second the Vice Chairman Mack's motion.
Make that unanimous, and thank you so much, Cindy, for the work you do for us.
Thank
It's great. Next, we have Mr. Engelup filling in for Mr. Bryce, engineer.
Morning. So this is for approval to enter an agreement with Ethos Engineering for preliminary design for our all-weather crossing at Tally Wash. And so this project is coming from money that we already received from the state. And when we got that money, we already included design work as part of that cost. It's a pretty big bridge project, and so it's a little more complex than something that we'd be used to doing in-house. So we put out an RFQ. We got a couple of companies that submitted, and Ethos was chosen as the consultant. It ended up being about 10% of the budget, which is normal for ADOT projects. It's actually a little bit better. So, yep.
Discussion, comments?
If you don't mind, Chairman, I just had a question. This is up for the 30% plans, which
yes.
takes care of a hydraulic study and roadway engineering and survey, things like that. Does it, and also a structure, it proposes an alternatives for the structure, whether it's a box culvert or a bridge. Is the intent of engineering department to take those 30% plans and and try to do the rest of it in-house, or will we see separate engineering agreements for the 60 and 95 and 100%?
Yeah, so we talked to Ethos a little bit about that. So we did some of this work in-house already, like the surveying and whatnot. But our intent is to take the roadway design, some of that hydrology, and we can do a lot of that in-house afterwards. The bridge design, so the 30% is the part of the bridge selection, and we potentially would take that to final design with them once. It depends we don't know what bridge structure they're choosing. If it's a standard box culvert, that's something we could do in-house, but if it's a little more complex, geotech-wise and stuff like that, then yeah, we would potentially pursue further
Good.
plans.
And I also noticed that you, with what they call a shoe fly or
Detour.
a little, that you won't close that important road during construction,
Right.
and I appreciate that. In fact, it's more than appreciation. It's critical for our commerce to have that open.
Sure. I
So
agree.
thank you.
Yep.
No other comments or questions, Mr.
Eric?
Chairman.
I can't remember or recall, do we have a completion date on this whole project? We don't have a completion date yet. It's all in the beginning phases at this point. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Anything else?
No.
Get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Ethos Engineering for preliminary design for the all-weather crossing at Tally Wash on Safford Bryce Road.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous. Thank you, Eric. Next up, we have Brian Douglas, Health Department.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're seeking approval of the Immunization Services IGA Amendment Number 3. And this Immunization Services IGA, they've updated the end date of the original agreement with one of their vaccination programs.
Questions?
It's kind of a sideways question regarding immunizations, but they're developing, but have they distributed not that we have a pandemic yet, at least here in the United States, for the monkeypox, but do you know if they're talking about distributing that, or is the transmission such that it shouldn't really affect our population?
Right. The monkeypox, as of right now, if someone here in Graham County were to contract monkeypox, we would actually have to send them to Pima County, to actually Tucson, to their health department where they're holding vaccine there.
Okay.
But with the monkeypox, it's not a highly infectious, like an airborne or anything like that. It has to be close contact. So we're not. It's not like COVID or flu or anything like that.
Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you. So their plans are available statewide to
Yes.
address it. Okay.
Yes, and they've been. We've had plans in place for about a year on
Okay.
monkeypox.
Very good. Mr. Chairman, this immunization amendment is just basically around extending a date, and so it's a little bit of a formality, but it's important for the contract. So I'd go ahead and move that we approve it.
I'll second that.
I agree. Make it unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Brian. Next, we have McCoy Hawkins, IT.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I'm here to get approval of unbudgeted capital, not to exceed 97,000 some odd. This is for a software subscription that we used and will continue to use, and it's our on-base software. I actually budgeted 18,000 for this. You're approving the whole agreement, which is a 5-year agreement. And the reason it's here is because you need to sign the 5-year agreement for the total amount, but I didn't budget for taxes, so actually we're paying $19,299 this year. And there, I can't even explain why we need to pay taxes on software other than they change their business practice, so. I budgeted 18,000 and I need 19,000, so that's why I'm here.
Okay. Comment, questions, concerns?
You have to pay the tax man.
Yeah.
Yeah, accounting principles changed, basically, and they've been trying to figure out how to tax software, and they're catching up with it,
They found it.
so.
Thank you for the explanation, McCoy, and thank you for your work over the weekend on Friday. I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve this change in this budgetary change, so that we can continue with our contract with the SBITA with the SBITA purchase.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
I'll make that unanimous. Thank you, McCoy.
Thank you.
Next, we come to the time in our meeting where we all get to give a brief statement of what we've been doing, what direction the county's going in, and we will start off with our county manager, Mr. Dustin Welker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'll just start out by thanking the board for the meetings on Thursday night and Friday. We're able to host the State Transportation Board. First time that Graham County has hosted that board in over 20 years. We had a very good meeting. It was very good to see how good of relationships the Board of Supervisors has with many of those board members and the top tier of their staff. We were able to have some really meaningful discussions with them Thursday evening and Friday, and we're able to discuss a lot of very important interests in transportation in Graham County. I just wanted to thank the board for the great conversations you had and your diligence and the obvious respect that you've garnered with the State Transportation Board. Thank you. A few things on finance. Some of our first round of numbers are coming in from the state. We received our state shared revenues. The first round from July came in positive, about $40,000 higher than last year. So that was good to see on the state plane. On the local sales tax, we have July and August now, and both those numbers as well are looking very good. And as far as the local economy are some good numbers to show we're still going strong. And those are in your staff report. We continue to work on the Gila River fire mitigation plan, spraying herbicide on our fire breaks. We're a little over halfway done treating those. In the meantime, the Gila Watershed Partnership is working on grants right now to continue that effort. And the plan is they will receive those grants and continue doing work on the fire breaks, spraying herbicide, and then also doing some replanting of some native vegetation along the periphery of those as well that won't compromise the fire breaks. So we're happy to see them pick that up and move forward with that. A couple projects we're working on. We discussed the doors at the fairground exhibit buildings. That project was awarded to Lump Construction. They've ordered everything, and they'll begin tomorrow on doing some framing and getting ready for those doors to install. And we have I think September 20th is the deadline for them to finish that. We're also out to bid on our fairgrounds marquee sign. We've been working diligently on this for quite a while. It'll be a 27-foot tall new marquee sign at the fairgrounds entrance. I'll have a digital sign component in it, which will be great to finally get away from physically putting up letters. I know Trey likes doing that, but it's very time consuming. So we're anxious to see that. Our highway department worked with the co-op to get power out there, and at the same time run the power for intersection light. So we have that intersection turning into the fair will be lit up. I don't think the pole's quite in yet. We'll get that report from Steve in our work session, but it's all ready to go. Those bids for the marquee sign are due the end of this week, and we'll open them up in the first meeting in September. Also just wanted to report on the Gila River Linear Park and Trail. We've been working with ADOT on that grant. We were able to get a $498,000 grant through them for designing that trail system. Their initial bid from their contractor came in at about $640,000. So we had to do a lot of value engineering to get that to a more reasonable number, and we were able to get it down to $460,000 and actually still get everything we wanted and needed. And I want to thank Eric and Michael for working with them and very diligently going through pages and pages of their quote to understand things that we really didn't need in that quote. And that $460,000 will still give us 100% plans, fulfill all the environmental and hazmats that we have to do that project. So we are moving forward with a contract with Jacobs and ADOT on that, and we'll be moving forward. Other than that, we have a meeting today at 11:30 with Congressman Juan Ciscomani. We were able to apply through a grant through his office, congressionally directed spending, for $1.2 million to run a reclaimed water line at the fairgrounds and replace all our antiquated water system up there. We received news from Representative Ciscomani that is in the congressional budget, and that will be approved in their budget process. So he's coming down today to meet with the board, as you know, at 11:30 to hear more about this project and congratulate us on this grant. And we're going to meet with him for about an hour. That's my report for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dustin. Supervisor David.
Thank you, Chairman Howard. And over the last couple of weeks, been busy. There was a Substance Abuse Coalition meeting on the 6th that I was able to attend and represent the county. There was a focus group on Wednesday, August 7th called Proyecto Junto, which is a mental health focus group. It's a grant that we're utilizing with the, I think the U of A is assisting with that to evaluate and improve and find out what the mental health needs. We had 18 people there, which is a great representation, and the health department is to be commended for both the getting the grant and then helping to coordinate that meeting. Emily Riddle is the lead on that. There was a transportation meeting on the 8th with the SEGO, and then the following week attended Safford City Council meeting this last Monday. There was several meetings here in town before I left to go to Alpine for an ECO meeting. There was a Graham County Senior Citizen Center Advisory Council meeting, and then we also had Dustin and I attended Southeastern Arizona Transportation Safety Plan meeting, and there are several projects which using the safety funds, which is a completely separate bucket of money. It looks like we've got a couple of projects on our rural roads that there'll be opportunities for us to apply for and get. Well, we'll see if we get them. Apply for grants to improve there on Safford Bryce Road as well as Old Solomon Road, and looking at a couple other intersections with a crash history. As well as the city of Safford's looking, and Thatcher looking at 20th Avenue and some of the intersections here in town to try to improve the everything from line of sight to visibility of signal heads and other items. So that was a very productive meeting, and that was organized and sponsored by SEGO. And then went to Alpine and spent pretty much a day, an evening and a morning. Eastern Counties organization has 10 different things that they're involved in, with everything from forest restoration, watershed improvement, endangered species, trying to limit the number of wolves that are going to be introduced, as well as how they're going to be introduced. They're trying to require or limit for the Fish and Wildlife Service to foster pups, where they actually will put a new puppy in with a new litter of cubs. The survival rate, either way, whether they just cubs in the wild, is about 10% survival rate. So it's an awful lot of money and plane fare to fly these pups from zoos all over the United States and then helicopter them in and put them in the dens. But the alternative is to release the captive wolves, which have been in fenced areas in Mexico and other areas and are already habituated to humans and don't have the natural fear, and so they tend to be the real problem wolves, and they're trying to, some of the environmental groups want them, they just want numbers, so they want them released, and the ECO is one of the advocates. If since it's the law, endangered species is the introduction is not anything that we can't put the genie back in the bottle, but we can control a little bit of how it's done and throw an anchor out and make sure it's done well. Enough about that. But anyway, it's a really good group. We are part of that, and we have an annual fee that we pay, but they represent our counties very well. Later on that, I tried to phone in to a local committee to end homelessness meeting and couldn't on the road. The next day, there was an old growth meeting regarding the expansion of what they call old growth areas, which could be a problem, and we're monitoring that. And then that morning, I also on Thursday went to San Carlos, and the ADOT had a partnering meeting with the San Carlos tribe, and we discussed some of the mutual projects and concerns. Biggest concern is enforcement. The tribe is reluctant to enforce because they have enough trouble in town on the highways. They have enough trouble, with their and they're busy enough with maintaining law and order within the reservation. And the second is, if they write a ticket on the highways, then they end up having to go to Globe usually and spend the morning or afternoon appearing for that ticket, and that eats up half a day typically for them. And the other component is that there's no revenue generated that goes to the tribe. So they feel like there's three reasons why they are reluctant to enforce, and so we just need to encourage. If we want more enforcement, we need to encourage our DPS to step up, and that's pretty much. Then we had this state transportation. We hosted an evening reception, and then excellent job. Jenny Howard is our represents Graham and Greenlee County and not Cochise, but Graham and Greenlee and Pinell, and did an excellent job. John was helping with the hosting, and it really was. This ground's already been plowed by Dustin, but it's very important that they know who we are, where we are, and they drove over some of the roads that need help. So they had that complete experience, and that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Mack.
I don't have a lot to report on. I did spend the day Saturday out in Klondike and Bonita area and met with some people that live out there and just wanted to tell Steve's guys what a great job they're doing on the roads. A lot of happy people out there and appreciate what you guys do. That's really all I have to report on.
I'll be brief as well. I attended on the 6th Gila Valley Irrigation District meeting, as I usually do, to keep up on our water issues. On the 7th, we came in here and did the primary canvassing on the recent elections, and then I traveled to Thatcher with Dustin to a managers meeting that we're starting to collaborate with other entities, which is good. We have good discussions working together. It's always nice to do that. And on the 8th, I attended the Farm Bureau picnic down in Thatcher. I just somehow can't get away from my farming roots. I always have to be involved something, anything with farm on it. I'm probably going to be there usually. Then I had a really neat opportunity and an invitation to travel to Denver on the 12th to play in I know it sounds funny and it doesn't sound official, but a benefit golf tournament for St. Jude's Children's Hospital for Justin Gaethje Foundation up there. And I believe the total that we had when I left was around $56,000 was raised for St. Jude's. So I thought that was pretty cool and pretty exciting to be a part of that. And on the 14th, Danny Smith had us take a tour of the theater and the progress of the theater. And believe me, it's come along really neat. We're getting close finally. It's been years and years, and we're almost over the top with it. And it's going to be quite an asset, I believe, to our downtown area. And then on the 15th, of course, we had our state transportation dinner here. I just want to thank everybody that came for that. Thank Casa Manana. The food was amazing. The discussions was amazing. It's just nice to be able to see the faces and to be able to talk to the people that pull the strings for our roadways. It's so important that we can stay engaged, and we're very honored to be able to have that relationship with these folks. And of course, on the 16th was the actual meeting. I know it's a long, drawn-out meeting. There's a lot of discussion in it. I was a little disappointed more the public didn't come to participate because it was their chance, but the feedback I've got out, they didn't know. But maybe that's our fault. We should have did a little better job. But anyway, it was very successful. I want to thank Dustin and Hannah and McCoy for the extra effort they did for this meeting. McCoy was here during the whole meeting. Hannah was here as well. Dustin worked hard on this thing to get it to go. Meg's supplied a great breakfast that morning. It was very great, presented great. So I want to appreciate all you guys for the hard work you did on that. So that's all I have. That's the end of my report. Next we have call the public. I don't see any online, nothing. So that will be it. We will adjourn. Thank you, folks.